Hey guys, and welcome back to the TC Games Daily Origami series. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make this origami mouse, which has a few tricky steps, but overall it's not that complicated. So to make this you're going to need one square sheet of paper, and let's get right to it. Okay, so we're going to start with a square sheet of paper, and we'll start by turning it so that the color side is facing down. Now we're going to put in a diagonal crease, so to do that we're going to fold it so that the top edge aligns with the side edge. So fold it like this. And you really do want to get it properly aligned because it will affect the end result. And the more even your folds, the better your mouse will look. So get it nicely aligned and take your time with it. So once that's creased in, go ahead and unfold it. Now we're going to turn it so that this tip is facing us, like this. And we're going to fold it so that this edge comes in lines with the crease that we just made. Again, align it properly before you crease it in. You want to make sure you get a nice pointed tip on the bottom here. And then just go ahead and crease it into place. Now we're going to do the same thing with this side here, so fold it so that this edge comes in lines with the center. Once you've got that properly aligned, give it a nice crease. Just like that. It should now look like this. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to flip this model to the other side. So flip it to this side here. And now we're going to fold it so that this tip comes in lines with this tip all the way up here. So fold it up like this. Get it nicely aligned. And then crease this edge into place. Once again, we're going to flip the model over to the other side, which will now look like this. And we're going to turn it sideways so that this tip is facing us. And you want to grab this flap here. And the idea is to bring this edge all the way to this crease over here. So to do that, just go ahead and push up against this edge here. And that should sort of fold it into place. And you want to make sure it's opened up on the inside. So when you push it, it should fold in like this. And align it so that this edge goes right to the center. Just like that. And you want to take your time with this once again. Until you get this shape over here. So now in case that was confusing, we're going to do the same thing on this side here. So once again, open it up. Push up against this edge so that it folds up like this, and then you'll have to align it properly before you crease it in. Just like that. Once you've got a pointed tip on the bottom, crease it in. Then work your way to the top part, where again you want to create a nice pointed tip there. Like that. Crease that into place as well. And you should now end up with a shape that looks like this. Okay, so now once you've done this, we're going to turn it sideways so that this tip is facing us. So it's going to look like this. Grab the first layer, and you want to fold it right up against this edge here. So just fold it as far as it'll go. Flatten this out. Now go to the left tip here, bring it all the way down so that it's facing us. Take the model, flip it over. Now go down to this tip again, grab this tip, and you want to fold it all the way up to this tip right here. So it should come and intersect with these two tips. Just like that. Once it's aligned, give it a nice crease. So that it looks like this. Now we're going to grab this edge over here. And we want this tip to come in line with this tip. So once again, this tip here should come in line with this tip over here. So grab this, bring it up, and as you do so, if you'll notice, sometimes this flap tends to fold away. You'll have to hold that in place and fold it down like this. And as you can see, this tip is now coming in touching this tip here. At the same time, however, you want this tip to come and meet this edge here. And that's how you know everything is properly aligned. So it should look like this. Once you've got that aligned, crease it in. And you know you've done it right when your crease runs from this tip here all the way up to some point over here. Now in case that was confusing, we're going to do the same thing except on this side over here. So once again, we want this tip right here to come in line with this tip, and we want this tip to come in line with this edge at some point. So grab this edge, remember to hold the center flaps in place, and then fold it up like this. Bring this tip to that tip there, make sure this tip touches the edge, and then go ahead and crease it into place. There's going to be a lot of paper, so take your time with it. Unfold it. Once again, you should end up with a crease that runs from this tip here to some point over there, and overall it should look more or less like this. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and grab this flap here, and we're going to pull it down so that it unfolds. And we're going to fold it so that this tip comes in lines with this tip over here. So take this, fold it up this way, and essentially this half of this edge is going to align with the other half of the same edge. So it's going to fold up like this. And once you've got that properly aligned, give it a nice crease all the way through. So your crease should now run from this crease right here all the way up to some point over there, and you'll want to keep this folded. Now for the next step, we're going to sort of raise this up a little bit, and this part may seem tricky, but it's fairly simple. You want to go to this diagonal crease right here, you want to pinch it just like that, and then carefully pull the first layer out like this so that it's separated from the other layer, and just start to pull it out like this. So as you do so, you might get something that looks like this, but you want to go ahead and push this back down if it folds up. Again, pinch this and just pull it out, and you should end up with this shape here. So hopefully that step wasn't too confusing. So quickly, it was like this. We grabbed this crease right here, pulled it down, and we made sure this part here was still folded down. And as long as you have this edge aligned with this crease right here, it should be fine. Now for the next step, we're going to place this down, and we're going to fold it so that this tip comes in lines with this tip right here. So grab this tip, bring it all the way down here, and as you do so, you'll notice that the layer over here tends to fold up. Once you've got it to about this point here, go ahead and crease this in. It should be fairly straight, running down like that. Once you've creased it in, there should be an edge over here. Go ahead and push it down along that edge, and you also want it to fold down along this crease here, giving you a shape like this. So once again, it was like this. We folded it to this point here, collapse this down, and it should now look like this. Now the next fold again is going to be a little bit tricky. What we're going to do is we're going to raise this layer here, go underneath, and we're going to grab this colored layer, and you carefully want to pull it out like this. And once you've pulled it out, you want it to fold up right up against this crease here. So this crease is going to be right next to this crease. So it's going to be the diagonal crease running from this tip to some point there. So fold it up against that. Make sure all these fold inwards and are tucked in nicely. And it should now look like this. Now for the next fold, we want this edge here to come in line with this edge over here. So grab this. You want to make sure this layer stays inside. Fold it down like this. So we're just going to crease in about this part right here. You don't need to crease it in all the way. So right up to this crease. Once you crease it in, go ahead and unfold it. And this part here may tend to fold up, like so. Just fold it back down. And the idea is just to get a crease running from this point to this point. And then for the next step, we're going to go to this tip over here. And we're going to fold it so that this tip comes in lines with this crease, which is the crease that we just made. So we're going to fold this up like this. crease it in, unfold it. So now you should have a crease right at this point here as well. And your overall model should look like this. Now we're going to use that crease to create a fold. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to open up this layer here, like this. We're going to take this crease and we're going to fold it right along that crease and tuck this flap into itself, just like that. And then we're going to go to the next crease right here and we're going to do the same thing right along that crease. So grab this flap, fold it along that crease and tuck this part right here into itself, just like that. Once that's done, go ahead and crease it into place, just like this. Now if you were able to get this far, you've passed the hardest part of the model. So you should have a shape that looks like this. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to take this flap right here, so that's going to be the first two layers, and we're going to fold it backwards, and it should sort of naturally fold into the shape here, like this. And if you'll notice, I have a little bit of white parts sticking out there, which can be caused by sort of misalignments in the initial fold, and it's fairly easy to fix, just like that. So now for the next step, we're going to create some rabbit ear folds on these two flaps. So let's take our first flap here and fold it up and away from ourselves. And we're going to start by folding it so that this edge here comes in lines with this crease right here. So fold it down like this. Once that's aligned, give it a nice crease. Unfold it. Now fold it so that this edge here comes in lines with this crease. Just like this. This time you just have to crease it from this point right here all the way up to this crease right here, so you don't have to crease it all the way. Just like that. Unfold it. Now to create the rabbit ear fold, we're going to fold it right along this diagonal crease here and this long diagonal crease. So basically we're just going to grab this flap on this side, fold it down along that crease, fold it down along this crease as well, both at the same time. And it's going to create a little rabbit ear, as you can see here. And we're just going to align this edge with this edge and just fold that down into place, creating a nice pointed tip up here, which should now look like this. Let's go ahead and take this flap and just fold it to this side for now. And we'll do the same thing on this flap here. This time we'll go a little bit faster. So we're going to take this flap, fold it so that this edge aligns with this crease, just like this. Once it's aligned, crease it in. Unfold it. Now fold it so that this edge aligns with this crease, just like that. It's the same thing we did on the other side. This time we just have to crease it right up to that crease right there. You don't have to crease it all the way. Unfold it. Grab the two flaps, fold it right along the two creases that we just made. Allow the two flaps to pinch together, creating the rabbit ear. Then align them properly to create a nice pointed tip at the top. And we end up with the same flap on this side now. Just grab it, fold it to the side for now, until you end up with this shape over here. Now these two flaps here are going to be the little hands of the mouse, and as you can see it's a little bit too thick, so the next step is going to be to make it a lot thinner. So we're going to unfold it now, and we're going to fold it so that this edge here comes in lines with this crease right here. So it's going to fold up to the diagonal crease running up this way. Crease it into place all the way like that. Now we're going to unfold it, and we're going to fold it so that this edge here comes in lines with this diagonal crease running right down here. So fold it down like this, crease that into place, unfold it. Now you should have these new diagonal lines which we just created. And we're going to create another rabbit fold using those two new diagonal lines that we just created. So grab these two edges, push them together, and it should create a really thin version of this flap here. This time we're going to take this flap and we're going to fold it towards the right so that it comes up to this tip, or at least close to that tip, and it should look like this. So now we're going to do the same thing on this side. So again, unfold it. Fold this edge up to that crease there, the diagonal one, like that. Crease it in, all the way through, unfold it, fold this edge against this diagonal crease, and these are the creases that we created in the last step. Again, unfold it. Now that you have the two new creases, just go ahead and create the rabbit ear fold using those two creases by pushing them together, pushing this together, creating the nice pointed tip. This time we're going to fold it so that the tip goes towards this side, right up to that edge right there. And your model should now look like this. Okay, so once you've got to this shape, we're going to take the left side here and we're going to fold it right along the center crease so that it essentially folds in half onto itself. Just like that. Crease that into place all the way through. And your model should now look like this. Now we're going to take this and we're going to flip it to the other side. So flip it to this side now. And on this side you'll notice that there's going to be this little flap on the top. We're going to take this flap and we're going to fold it out so that it looks like this. And at this point you want to make sure everything is nicely aligned all the way through like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this edge right here and we're going to fold it up, and you want this edge to align with this edge. So fold it up like this. And you want to get it properly aligned. And it should fold all the way down to this point right here, creating a nice pointed tip. Like that. Crease it into place. Flip the model over to the other side and do the same thing with this flap. Fold it so that this edge aligns with this edge. Once you've got it aligned, give it a nice crease. And again, you want to create a nice pointed tip down there until your model looks like this. Now we're going to turn it so that this tip is facing us like this. And you want to fold it down so that this edge right here comes and aligns with this edge. And you want a crease running from this tip to some point over there. So you want to fold it down all the way up to this tip over here. Just like that. Crease it into place. Unfold it. And your crease should run from some point here to some point here. Now for the next fold, we want to create a crease that runs from this crease right here all the way down to some point there. And to get the crease right, we're basically going to take this flap here. We're going to start the fold at that tip. And we want to fold it down so that this tip here comes and aligns with this edge right here. So it should fold up like this. And again, you want to make sure it starts at the edge of this crease. Once you got that nicely aligned, you'll want to crease it in. And there's going to be a lot of paper here, so you really have to put in a really nice thick crease like that, and then unfold it. And as you can see, the crease runs from the edge of this tip here all the way down to some point right there. Now we're going to use these two creases to create the feet of the mouse. So we're going to go to this crease right here, and on this side this crease is a valley fold. So to turn it into a mountain fold, we need to pinch it like this. And it has to be a mountain fold, so it should now look like this. Now take this edge and you want to align it with this crease that we just made. So if you want, you can put it down on a flat surface, but you want to fold it down like this. And once you've got it aligned, crease it in so that it creases in the layers beneath. And it should look like this. And if you look at the finished model, this is the part where you're going to have the leg right there. And it's very small, so we're going to do the same thing on the other side now. Flip it over to the other side. And again, you're going to have two creases, one running up like this and one over here. If it isn't already, turn this into a mountain fold by pinching it. Then grab this, fold this edge right up to that crease. Just like that. Once again, crease that in so that the layers underneath get creased into place. And you should end up with a shape like this. Alright, so now we're going to turn it so that it's facing the other way. So it should look like this. And we're going to lay it down flat. And you want to grab the tail portion of it. And you want to fold it so that it starts at this tip right here. And it goes straight down. So it should look like this. And once that's properly aligned, crease it in. just like that. Unfold it. Now open it up from underneath, and we're going to reverse fold this flap here along the creases that we just made. So to do that, push this in, turn this crease into a mount and fold. Do the same thing on this side if it isn't already. And then go ahead and fold it back into place along the center so that it's reverse folded into the shape right here. And it should now look like this. Now turn it this way and lay it down flat. Now fold it so that this edge aligns with this edge over here. So you're making the tail thinner by folding it in half like that. And again, there's going to be a lot of layers there, so take your time with it. Once it's aligned, crease it in. Now you want to unfold it so that it stands up. And if you'll notice right here, there's going to be a crease that we just created. We're going to go underneath this flap, pull this up, and we're going to turn this crease into a mount and fold by pinching it. Just like that. And this crease right here should turn into a valley fold as we push it down. And the idea is that this flap right here overlaps this one. Like this. And now we're going to use this and we're going to start pushing it inwards until we end up with an edge that goes from this tip here all the way down to this point right here. So just push it in like that, and it should become a lot more narrow like this. So just to give you an idea of how it was before, it was like this, and at this point this edge was a little too long, so to shorten it we pushed it inside until this edge ran from this edge all the way up to this edge right here. So hopefully that's not too confusing. The idea is to get it to look like this, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So if you missed anything, just pay attention to this one. Fold it so that this edge aligns with that edge there, like that. Once it's aligned, crease it in. So again, we're going to lift this up. We're going to go underneath this crease, push it up, pinch it in to turn it into a mount and fold. As you do so, this part here is going to tuck underneath. Allow it to do that, and take this flap and fold it down. Again, this edge here is a little too long, so what we're going to do is we're going to start to push it inwards, just like that. And it should start to naturally fold into place as we push it in. And once this tip here reaches the edge of the tail, which it hasn't done yet, so once it reaches that point there, we can stop folding it and just go ahead and crease it into place. And if you've done it right, your mouse should now look like this. Now, as you can see, the tail is sort of going in the wrong direction, so to fix that, we're going to go right up to this point here. We're going to start at this edge, and we're going to create a reverse fold, so grab this, pull it up, just like that, and just allow it to squash into place. And this should fix the direction of the tail, which should now look like this. And now to test out if it's aligned properly, if you set it down, the mouse should be able to sit nicely like that. And you can make little adjustments if you want to. Okay, so now we're going to do something similar with the tail again. We're going to lay it down. We're going to fold it so that this edge here comes in lines with this edge. Let me just adjust the camera a bit. So fold it up like this. And now the layers are going to get really thick, so just crease it in nicely. Now we're going to lift this up so that it stands up. And again, we're going to go underneath here, lift up this layer, pinch that tiny little crease there so that it becomes a mount and fold. Push the tail in so that it becomes, the crease there becomes a valley fold. And the idea is just to tuck in this portion so that it looks like it's coming out of the back of the mouse, just like that, and keep pushing it up like this until the tail goes up a little bit, and it should look like this at this point. So we're going to do the same thing on this side. Fold it so that this edge aligns with this edge. Fold it up like that. Again, there's going to be a lot of layers, so just take your time with it. Once you've got it, crease it in. Again, unfold this, pull this up, pinch that in so that it becomes a mountain fold. Push that in, and then you're going to need to push this in a little bit so that the tail goes up. Because as you can see here, the tail doesn't start at the bottom, it comes out of the center somewhere over there. So just push it in a bit until it goes up like this. And it should now look like that. And now we're going to shape up the back side a little bit, so we're going to go to this tip here, fold that in just a bit, like that, so that it curves it out instead of making it pointed. Do the same thing here, this time try and align it with the other side, like that, and it should now look like this. Now as you can see, the back of the mouse is a little bit too pointed, so to curve it out we're going to do what is called a sync fold. So we're going to take this tip and we're going to fold it down, and as you fold it down you'll get an idea of what it'll look like once we do the sync fold. So once you're satisfied with how far down it's folded, give it a nice crease. And to create the sync fold, first we're going to unfold this. We're going to go from underneath and sort of pull the two layers apart, and we're going to push it down so that it folds along the creases that we just made, and it's sort of going to sink into the rest of the model, just like that. And once that layer's disappeared, it should curve out the back of the mouse, giving it a nice curved shape like this, and then just go ahead and pinch everything into place. And at this point your mouse should look like this. Now we're nearing the last few steps, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to go to the top part here, which is going to be the head, and we're going to take this flap right here and we're going to fold it up so that this edge comes in lines with the back edge here. So just grab this first layer, fold it down like this, crease it in, unfold it, flip it to the side, do the same thing with this one, fold it so that this edge aligns with this edge. Fold it down like this, crease it in, unfold it, bring it back to the side. Now if you'll notice there's going to be a layer on the back here which you can pull open, so go ahead and pull that open. And the crease we just made should run from this tip here all the way down to some point over there. What we're going to do is we're going to push right up against this edge so that it folds down along the crease that we just made, and it's going to reverse fold into the model, creating a nice little tip up here, just like that. Do the same thing on this side here, pull open the layer, push up against this edge so that it folds into itself, close it back down, and if you've done it right you should have 3 pointed tips on the top like this. Now these two flaps here are going to become the ears of the mouse, so what you want to do is you want to take this flap, fold it down this way. Do the same thing on this side, take this flap, fold it down this way. And we'll go back to this side here. Now for the next step, we're going to fold it so that this edge aligns with this crease right here. So fold it up like this. Crease it in. Do the same thing on this side, take this flap, fold it so that this edge aligns with that crease right there. Fold it up like that, crease it in. Now we're going to take this head here and we're going to fold it so that we get a crease running right up against this edge here. So fold it right up against that edge, just like that. Crease it into place and unfold it. What we're going to do now is we're going to open it up from the top part here, so open it up right at the head. And you want to be careful not to pull it too much because there's a part there which is interlocked and that could tear, so just pull it slightly. Hold it right down there underneath the head, right on the neck. Grab this tip and you just want to pull it down so that it folds along the crease that we just made. And then just sort of push the face down until it looks like this. And you want to make sure it's aligned on both sides. So once you pull it down, it should look more or less like this. So basically this fold right here is a crimple fold. So it just goes down like this. So once you've created the head, now it's just a matter of shaping up the entire model. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the tail here, And we're just going to go ahead and shape it up a little bit. What you can do is you can just curve it out like that. And then if you wanted to, you could put in a little twist that it goes in some direction, but I'm just going to leave it like that, so that's nice and simple. And if you wanted to, you could also go ahead and open up the ears right here, so that the ears are sticking out like that. It's not necessary, but if you wanted to, you could do it to give it sort of a slightly 3D effect, like that. And if you wanted to do any other adjustments, you could go ahead and do so, but this should be your finished mouse. So hopefully that wasn't too confusing. If you liked the tutorial, don't forget to rate and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.